Hi, I'm Sol Berruezo Pichon-Rivière. I'm a film director and screenwriter from Argentina, and I'm currently in Iceland, my favorite place in the whole world. So very happy to be here at the RVK Feminist Film Festival. Yes, so it started as a real need, like a really need for reading, for writing. Then photography appeared, all this in my, when I was a teenager. And when I was a teenager, I was a very lonely person, and I read a lot, and I thought I wanted to be a writer, or either a writer or I wanted to study literature, really focus in literature or in philosophy. But I also thought that would kind of set me for a very solitary life. So I once was when I was 17, I was in a shooting. My godfather, it's my father's best friend, who is actually my godfather because I've been baptized. He's a director, and he invited me into a shooting, and I found out what cinema was and how collective, how many people interfere in that, in just creating one idea. It wasn't just the director or the writer's idea, it was an idea that was taken by all the crew and the cast, and somehow portrayed by all these different persons, and so that really impressed me. And I was during the shooting, and then he invited me to the editing room, and I really enjoyed it. And then I decided to study cinema, and I started to shoot my first short films and finding myself into the audiovisual field, which I haven't been inside before. I haven't taken a camera. I mean, I was a photographer, but I didn't usually film stuff. So to me, studying was very important because I got to have a camera in my hands. I got to write a script, find the crew, and that kind of gave me the idea of what filmmaking is about, if we know what it is about, because I still don't know. And yeah, that's pretty much how I entered. Okay. So in a way, one thing is what you have in your head, and another thing is what you're actually going to shoot. So I think you really need to really set your mind free and accept chaos, because life is chaos and chaotic, and art is chaotic. And I think the most important thing a director should acknowledge is to set his or her mind free and not try to control everything, because the magic happens when you're not controlling it. I mean, you can have a universe fixed for that magic to happen. So it's very important that you talk with the people who are going to make the film, and to feel that you're in the same energy and in the same tones, particularly in the same tone. I think everybody should manage the same tone in everything, in acting, in color grading, in everything. I think there's one thing that I realized when I was studying is that the most important thing was to put your idea, your brain, into the table and manage to share it somehow, because it's something that you cannot describe with words sometimes. Perhaps a script, yes, you can describe it with words. A story, you can describe with words. But then there's a whole universe that it's more linked to images and to emotions, that it lacks of words. And finding the words to communicate that was I think the main my main learning in this process. Well, something that starts to happen is that sometimes people just inspire you. And in my case, there's a little girl called Matilde. She was in my first film, and then I wrote my second film because of her, because I wanted to continue working with her. And usually this happens, that a person just inspires me and makes me write something for her or him. But then there's also, like in my script, I think there's a lot of my own universe and my own questions, my own feelings. So I try to stick with those feelings I don't really understand, and that perhaps, that I don't understand particularly. And I try to grab them and make something out of that. So to me, like, films are also something very therapeutic, because you kind of like reprocess the feeling and the feeling and the feeling until you finally have a movie, and by then I'm sure this initial problem you had, it will be already gone. I mean, even if my films are not autobiographical, they are fiction, but in a way there's a lot of myself put in that. In all the characters there's always something from me, and also something from my loved ones, perhaps things that I don't understand about people I love and that I try to understand, and I kind of like place it in a character. And if it's a character that I wrote, I will definitely be empathetic about it. So there's also that, my own feelings and the feelings from my loved ones, from the people that surround me and that I don't understand. I think I mainly do art or make art because of sadness. To me, sadness, it's a feeling, like a very mysterious feeling that always comes to me, comes and goes. And I've been dealing with it all my life. I love my sadness, but I think in order to love the sadness properly, I need to understand it. And I think all my art goes towards the idea of sadness, of what is sadness. Is it a feeling that is it a bad feeling, or is it a elevated feeling, like something that really connects us with above or with whatever exists far beyond our planet? I think it's a very interesting feeling. And I kind of like, when I was a teenager, I started to be very depressed all the time, and the only things that perhaps kept me from that were either to spend time with people I love, or to read, or to take pictures, to cultivate that intimacy place we all have, but to really take care of it and try to find more about yourself, more and more and more. I think that's cinema to me, finding about me more and more and more. So to me, the ideas arrive as a picture. Like I have like a clear feeling of a scene. It's not like the first scene or the last scene, it's just something in between. And I start, like, it's like a dream, like sometimes there's no explanation, it's just an image that perhaps it's appealing to you, or you find yourself attracted to it. And so it starts like this, as an image, and then slowly I give it time, because I think for ideas you need to give time in order that they kind of like start cooking, because it's, to me it's very important and very crucial that ideas have this cooking time, that perhaps it's a year, 2, 3, I don't know. In general, for me it's like a year that I cook an idea inside myself, and then just one day, without even really knowing how, I sit and I start writing. But it's just one day, and if I try to do it and it doesn't flow, I leave it and then come back. But once I start writing, it never ends until the end. And that's something that because sometimes you kind of like are afraid of the blank page and like what should I start, how should I start, and sometimes if you don't know how to start, perhaps you could start with that image that came in the first place, that perhaps it's a moment in the middle of the film, and I think once you have it, it flows like a conversation. When you have a conversation, you don't prepare the conversation. It starts happening and you need exchange, And here you don't have an exchange with a real person, but you start having an exchange with somebody, or like with your characters, or with something that starts to emerge, but even if it's not a physical person. And that's something very curious about writing. But yeah, writing is like the phase or the moment I enjoy the most in film. I never thought about it in that way, but yeah, I think I'm a writer in soul. And now, because I have other things, I can do it and not feel alone, because I have other things going on which I'm not doing alone. So it kind of allowed me to finally be or do what I want without worrying about being alone, or without worrying, of just being myself and my ideas, and no exchange with anything. And yes, I think, I'm writing a novel now, and I'm really enjoying the process. And yeah, I think I'm a writer in soul. I like what you said. I kept that with me. Well, so this is a very difficult question, but because I think we all have like different movies and different books throughout our lives, there are moments for everything. But now, I do have a favorite book, which doesn't have much explanation on why I love it. It's a novel, a fiction novel. It's called City, by an Italian writer called Alessandro Baricco. It's my favorite book. I just don't have an explanation why. And then there's also this Argentinian writer called Alejandra Pizarnik. She writes poetry and she also has diaries. And she has, when I read her, sadness was portrayed for the first time as I saw it. And to me that was very inspiring. And I have a movie of now, which is 8.5 from Fellini. I discovered it I saw it a few years ago, but I didn't understand it. I didn't understand it when I saw it, and I saw it 1 year ago again, and it's just that it represents so much something that I want to do related with the unconscious, and not just with conscious life, because there's a lot going on inside and in the unconscious, and I really like how it is mixed. It's like a dance between consciousness and unconsciousness, and now it's perhaps my favorite movie from the moment. Well, I think all countries shape you, your nationality and your gender shape you, and kind of sets in the table the issues and the problems that you will be dealing with. Mainly your gender, I think it shapes the way you see things, because it's the things you experience, the things that shape your vision of the world. And I try not to make Argentinian movies, you know. I try not to do Latin American movies, which I think there's a type in it, and there's a type in every type of filmmaking. But I really try to avoid that. Even if I love my country and I love my nationality, I think I try to escape it as well, because growing up is mainly trying to leave your comfort zone. So I think I have this idea fixed in my head that I need to try to detach from what I consider myself to be, not just in my nationality, but in my gender. I'm always doing this process and this work of trying to detach from what I am, because that thing, I think it's where you can find the most pure things, ideas, feelings, that it's you and it's not you. I mean, I believe we are not just individuals, we are like, our environment shapes a lot our personality. But even though with having that acknowledged, I think I will always try to detach from my identity. Also as a way of allowing myself to always be living different things or feeling different things. And yes, I try to do that a lot, and try to, yes, detach of what my nationality perhaps tells me what to do, or my gender tells me what to do. So now that I have this moment to explain it, I will explain it to you how it came. It's magical, as a lot of things are magical in life. But this is like one of the first magical things happened to me. I was 8 years old and I had an English lesson, and we had this book with this exercise, which was the exercise was a listening exercise, and there was a page where you had lots of pictures from different places to go on vacation. And one of those places, among Caribe, among Disney, among Paris, I know, it was the Blue Lagoon here in Iceland. And I just fell in love with that picture, and I couldn't really understand, but I really wanted to be there, and I dreamed of being there. Like, I felt my body inside that blue water, and I had a very mystical thing with that picture. And I brought it to my mother. She didn't knew where that was, so I kept it. And when I was older, I searched it in Google Images, because you can upload a picture in order to do a search when you don't have the name of something, but you do have a picture. So I searched this picture, and it was Blue Lagoon, and I found out it was in Iceland, and that Iceland was it was so completely far away from Argentina. And I spent all this time being in Google Maps, just wandering around Iceland randomly. And so I decided that I started to watch a lot of films from here, and I had I started to learn Icelandic. And when I was 19, I saved enough money, because I didn't start to study when I finished school. I started to work because I wanted to have money to travel to Scandinavia mainly, and then to Iceland. And so I did that travel. It was my first travel alone at 19, and I suffered a lot, and I enjoyed a lot, and I discovered a lot, and all at the same time. And that was my first time in Iceland, and and then lots of other things happened, but it's something that I love. Iceland is something that I love because there's not an explanation, a logical explanation. It's a feeling. It's pure feeling. It's when I'm here, everything just becomes a movie. And I'm inside a movie, and when the plane lands, I cry. And when I'm here, like with the snow, I cry. So it's something very powerful. And to me, this is the first time I come here with a movie. It's my third time here in Iceland. So I'm really grateful with the team of the festival for allowing me to be part of it somehow and not just be a guest. And that it has been like the best experience in Iceland ever.
Well, that's really magical.
It is.
Yeah. Yeah. So you've been here 3 times. Okay.
Yeah.
And you're 25, right?
25. Yeah. I was here when I was 19, when I was 21. I almost sometimes forget I'm 25. I'm still saying I'm 21. I don't know why. It's just that you forget age sometimes. Yeah, my second time was at 21, and there's been like 3-4 years because it's very difficult to get to here from Argentina. Imagine it's like the opposite side of the world. See, it's my third time here.
So, and you've met a lot of people here, I expect. Are you looking to like work with Icelandic artists or in the film industry here?
Yes, there's a director that I really admire, I want to do something with her. Her name is Helga Rakel Rafnsdóttir. We interviewed her for the festival. And well, I did collaborate with musicians from here. Because my second movie has Mum, the band from here. It has a song from Mum, which is a band from Iceland, which is my favorite band in the world. And they lend us a song to use for the film. And yes, I want to. I think in some way I feel I need to also live here eventually to write about here. Because otherwise I don't feel allowed, because there are so many things that perhaps I'm looking with the look of somebody that is here, that it's super in love with the country, but that knows that she's going away, and that's a totally different story to somebody that perhaps stays and like in love, you know. Perhaps you fell in love very quickly with somebody and you see all the good things and you are so like idealistic about it. But then like true love sometimes comes when you need to face other stuff and go deeper. And you can only go deeper if you give time to things. Otherwise, you just like live from outside or the superficial things. Well, I do have an obsession with languages. Right now, well, I'm going to restart with my Icelandic. I'm studying German and I'm studying French. I love languages. I completely love them. And something that I do know I'm going to still do, because I've been doing it, but I've stopped, is music. I want to be a musician as well, and another dream I had was to be an ice skater, professional ice skater, because that's something else that when I do it, I feel it from a past life, you know, like I already was a skater back when I was in another body. Yeah, those are the things I want to do. I would say, as I said before, to me film and art is about, perhaps it sounds cliche, but finding out about yourself. So I would suggest that you start to like tear apart like layers and layers and layers and layers, all the most you can, in order to find that essence you carry, because we all carry an essence in life, but in artists, I think we all have something different to tell. As there are so many people, but we are all different somehow. There's always something that just you came here to do, and that's what you need to find out, and not be, of course, not be afraid, and I think, you should like perhaps do it from a very honest place, because honesty, when you do it with honesty, like honesty not in a way of being a good person or a bad person, honesty in the way of really doing what you feel, and like completely sincere with yourself, even if that's something that it's very bad, or for society something very bad. I think the best screenplays and movies are the ones who speak from a very honest and sincere place, without fear of, I don't know, being judged or even like exposing yourself. But expose yourself, I think, be honest, try to find it, to find the real essence, but you will never find, because there's lots of essence we all carry, so find the essence for now, like set up your game for now, and give everything, like go to the field and give it everything, because if you trust what you do, then others will eventually trust, and you need to build a chain of trust. It's not, you cannot do it alone, and that's also the special thing about film. So yes, those would be my advices.
Thank you very much.
Tack för det.